Hi class, this is Dr. Bear. I am with you about the experiment you participated in. So this experiment is great because it connects with our topic of personality. And so the study looked at different traits individuals have. And we look at traits, typically we study them as the ocean, OCEAN, for the big five dimensions of personality. But when you think about studying the trait theory of personality, it's identifying what traits connect with an individual. So I am showing you one of the handouts. This was an experiment. So let's rewind and talk about what an experiment is. An experiment is when you have an IV and a DV. The independent variable is the IV, and the dependent variable is the DV. In an experiment, the IV is what you are manipulating, the group differences, what you're studying. The DV is your outcome variable. Everyone gets the outcome measure. Everyone gets the same DV. And so in this case, everyone got a description of a hypothetical student. Some of you got a description showing that the individual was having a warm personality. So you can see the warm there. Some of you got the same exact information, but were given cold as the personality trait. Everything else in the instructions and the traits listed was the same. Then our IV, were they given warm or cold as a personality trait? So does that dimension of personality, warmth versus coldness, impact people's perceptions? So then after you have created that imaginary student, everybody had these lists, all right? And so these lists can be divided up into warmer traits and colder traits. So I asked everyone to fill it out, check what describes that individual you just created in your mind. And then I'm looking for group differences. I'm looking for, do I see more warmth personality traits with people who got warm? Do I see differences in warmth and cold between people who got the warm person versus people who got the cold person? So let's go ahead and look at our data. So here is our data file. You will see that we have our two groups, people who got the cold as the word, people who got the warm as the word. This is the number of warmer traits. So people who were given warm checked off from that list of traits an average of 9.7. People who got cold in their description picked an average of 5.37 traits that were warm. When we look at people who got the cold version, they had an average of 5.37 cold traits. And people who got warm picked an average of only 2 of the cold traits on that right side of the traits list. So you can see very clearly when you're given that warm trait, you are more likely to nominate that person thinking of them in that those warmer traits. And when you get cold, they were kind of more even between checking off traits on the left, which were warmer traits, and traits on the right, which were colder traits. So this is just a fun example. This is a classic study that was done back in the day, and I've done this semester after semester, and the results are always the same. It's a very reliable study. And what that can show us is that when we have a perception of someone, it can impact how we view them. And we'll talk more about that idea of perception in a couple weeks. We're also going to dig into more in different theories of personality besides trait theory. and you're learning more about research. In addition to the experimental design, we've got other methods for collecting information. Thanks for watching.